Hey everyone, your designers are here.
I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at My Soulful Home.
We have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you. So let's get started.
This is episode 118, How to Decorate Your Dining Room Table. What we're talking about today is what do you do with your table when you're not setting it up for guests? So there's no plates on there. You know, you're not serving dinner in a few minutes. This is what do you do when your dining room table is basically idle?
So would you say not a tablescape, which is clearly a blogger made up word, because every time I type that, it wants to correct it.
I know.
But it's such a good one, though. I do like using it.
It is a great word. So
right. So it's not a tablescape. We're not talking.
Come on, Webster.
In blogger lingo, right along with cross-holidation, it needs to be a word. But so tablescape is when you're putting out the plates and the chargers and the glasses and the forks and the knives and all of that. This is decorating. So having just a beautiful vignette or whatever on your dining room table.
Some people do like to decorate pretending like they're having people over. And so some people do like to have their table set up when they are not expecting guests. But I find when people come over, they're asking, oh, are you having a party? Why wasn't I invited?
Exactly.
So it's probably, I'm just suggesting you not do that.
I think that might be kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, and then they're maybe going to get dusty and stuff.
Yeah,
so I don't really do that.
I have a wonderful friend from the South who lives up here in the North, and she does set her table because she has company all the time.
Oh, yeah. Then she's at the ready.
Mm-hmm.
That's different.
And it always looks so beautiful. However,
of course.
For me, I think I mean, this is just my preference in my home. I think setting a table, it would just look a little too overdone. I like my table just itself to shine. I like to give it a little rest. But for me, bigger items are better. So get rid of those little items and those tchotchkes. You absolutely don't want to put those on a table.
I think you're right, Yvonne, because what we're really talking about is you're putting a vignette on there and it's got to be scaled to the table. So a dining room table, it tends to be one of the larger tables. So you can't really put some little figurine on there and make it look proper. It's properly scaled.
Or a lot of little things. A lot of little things do not add up to the wow that
it ends up looking thrift story.
Big things.
Right, like maybe you're having a white elephant sale. So you want to avoid that,
which I literally could have in my house.
I think I might have had that.
So remember the old days when you would just put a vase on the table with these carefully arranged silk flowers, and boom, you were done. Crickets. Nobody's admitted to doing this.
I never did that. Okay, I'm sure people have done that.
Wait a minute. So you didn't have a Tuscan vase, and now you're trying to tell us you never had a vase in the center of the table with the silk flowers
I never had a silk flower in my house. No.
Is that what you're saying, young lady?
Never had a silk flower in my house.
I do. I have tulips that I defy anybody to tell me that they're not real.
Well, now we all know they're not real.
That's right.
Well, hey, I have real ones too.
So that could be confusing. All right, let's get back to an excellent point that I believe Anita made, is when you think about it, your dining room table is probably the largest horizontal surface that you have in your home.
Right.
Other than your bed. That's right.
Right.
Or your floor.
Floor doesn't count. Well, she's always going to sing me. The floor. Okay. You're right. Okay, Anita, you're
sorry,
right.
but
other than the floor
and the bed.
Gosh,
I know. I take everything so literally.
I think the listeners see what's going on here today. Okay, they're ganging up on me. Okay, so
never.
It's a large surface. Can we agree?
It's a large surface. I'll agree with
that's
that.
Not vertical. Okay, so you have to take into consideration not only the vastness of it, but the shape of it. Is it a square? Is it a rectangle? Is it an oval? And that is also going to help you around. That's also going to help you decide what you put on it, how much you put on it, and where you put it on it. Okay. So stick with me here.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah. I don't think I could do that today. And the other thing that you want to think about is, do you have leaves? Which is kind of a funny word. I wonder why they called it a leaf. Isn't that funny? Like the extra part of your table?
I'm going to be looking that one up because
let's look that up.
Okay, but now listen, while we're talking about height, I want to bring in one other thing because I was
really talking about horizontal.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about height. Okay, do you want me to? All right,
I'm not done yet. I'm not done.
Okay,
so I think if you have a leaf, sometimes you have 2 leaves, sometimes you have 3 leaves. If you don't have a leaf in there right now and you've got them in the closet, if you can, think about adding the leaf, because I think the bigger is the better. And when you come to a dining room table, and in my former house, I thought the room couldn't handle it. And so I didn't have the leaf in it. And even just for my family of 4, it seemed a little squished. And I thought, why don't I just try that leaf? And boy, did it make a difference. It seemed much more majestic and much more of a presence. So if you're not using your leaves, you might want to consider that, and consider that before you start to design the decorations.
Now, I may disagree with you a little there.
And that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that.
I don't like to see a small table in a big room, but I really like to see a table that's not too big for a room. So
yeah, you don't want it to be
see
too
it a little bit. I like to see it a little on the smaller side because I like a lot of room around my table. I think it visually is so beautiful.
Gotcha.
But that's just my opinion.
Well, and I think it does need to be sized properly. I mean, I had a table that was 6 feet long, and it had 3 2-foot leaves. That sucker extended to 12 feet.
Yeah. You don't need a 12-foot table. Right.
It has to be size appropriate for your room when it's not in use anyway.
Totally agree.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you have on your table right now?
I have to think because I just changed it. Okay, Anita, you go ahead.
Oh, yes. Well, my thing is I think I've talked about this before, but I like to create things in my home that remind me of these grand houses. I mean, obviously my house is not a grand house, but I think of these grand houses in the English countryside, maybe in the French countryside, and they would have a library room or a conservatory. So I like to kind of recreate that look in a much smaller scale. So right now I'm in my conservatory phase. So I like to have some cloches and shut up, and plants on my table.
Now you just got a little glimpse of the real Yvonne Kelly and Anita right there. Because we have so much fun together, and we can say just about anything to each other.
Just about. That might have been crossing the line.
Oh my!
Bless her heart. She's in her conservatory stage.
All right. I obviously do not have a conservatory, but I like that kind of look. So I'm just.
But I like to play
on a much smaller scale.
Using cloches and things like that. Is that what you're saying?
Listen, I think to me, part of decorating is you go and find some look that you just adore, and then find a way to recreate that, not fully, but in some way in your home. Obviously, I don't have a conservatory, but what I can do is put some plants on my table, and it reminds me of that. And so I'm happy with it.
I think it sounds gorgeous.
Beautiful.
You know, I'm just teasing you.
Right now on my table, it's fall. So I have, I just love candles. So I have a bunch of candles and a bunch of big round lanterns gracing my table. And in the center, I have a big lantern that has some pretty fall leaves and things in it. And it looks, and I have it spread long ways within maybe about a foot of each end of my table. I tend to go big or go home.
I love it.
Yeah, I
go
like
big
that.
in your home. I love that. Hey,
and I tend to decorate seasonally on my dining room table.
Yvonne, do you have any of that bittersweet on your dining room table now?
Not this year, but I do. I actually I've gotten no bittersweet yet, but I do usually put bittersweet.
Because we've got an email, I think it was just yesterday, a desperate, urgent email for very good quality faux bittersweet. Did we have a source for that?
Well, let me just tell you, I don't know of any online, but in our town, and I'm sure our town's not unlike other towns, if I go to decor shops,
Yeah.
and they tend to carry very nice looking faux flowers, brambles, because I call it, sticks and twigs and brambles
Yeah.
and things like that. So go to a design shop, a nice decor shop, and they will carry better quality, much more realistic looking faux. So I would go there. There's a place called the Old Millhouse Shop, the Candle Barn, the Treasured Place. These are all in Lancaster County. And there's a few other ones in town that carry very nice looking faux, and I've gotten some beautiful faux bittersweet.
Oh, okay.
But bittersweet, this is just sort of a sideline. Bittersweet is an invasive plant, so you can't plant it, and actually they're trying to eradicate it.
Oh, so it's like the kudzu of certain parts of the country?
Yeah,
Interesting.
it probably, yes. But it does grow quite prolifically here in Lancaster County. But I would say go to small local shops, design shops, for better looking faux.
And, it is better to see the faux in person.
So are we allowed to talk about the height yet? Or are we still focused on the length?
No, absolutely.
Okay, so we moved on to that. Okay,
you can.
just checking. So you do need to be careful because although I really like something very tall on my dining room table, I have light fixtures that hang down on top of my table.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of these, 2-foot candlesticks or other things on the table are kind of fighting with getting a little too close to the chandelier in the dining room or the pendant, the lantern in my breakfast room. So, you do have to be careful of that. So if you've got some chandelier that's hanging over your table, you're going to have to go a little bit lower.
Well, can you see, I put them to the side. I put them to the either side of my chandelier on my table because I have a long table.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you. Still, I don't know. It feels like, I don't think you want it too close.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe your table's bigger than mine.
Mm-hmm. I think create what I call a default decor. And it's just like, that's your default setting, that's something that you might have to spend a little more money on. But when it's not, let's say Christmas or, a holiday that you're going to decorate your table for, you just want to, by default, put that, you always have something lovely to put on your table. And I have this huge urn, this huge gray urn. It's that I got from Home Goods, believe it or not. And it's just amazing. And
that sounds beautiful.
Thank you. And I put that on my table. And then I have some different candlesticks. So I always have something that is very big and striking and just such a focal point because I believe in that. I don't believe in something little on a dining room table. You want to make it a wow factor. And then like in the spring, I get very good faux blooming branches and just fill it with these branches that sort of drape over it are just beautiful, or greens in the Christmas time, or mums or bittersweet. I've actually used bittersweet in it before as well. But I have always something that is a default that I can go back to when I'm not decorating it for an occasion.
I think that's great. And then you don't have to be hunting around for it. And, just grab these few pieces and it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So make sure you have different elements. I mean, I think you don't want everything exactly the same. You don't want all cloches or all plants or all something else, all candlesticks. I think it's nice to mix it up. You want different textures and kind of some different. So not everything metal, not everything wood. I think you want to mix it up some.
Yeah. I think that is such a good idea. Now, I have a cement table, and I'll put my table in the show notes. It was the best thing I've bought in the last 10 years.
Wow. And why do you say that?
Oh, it's just such a beautiful table.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I just
beautiful.
Suggested your table to a client of mine. And
did you?
I wonder, they still have it, right?
Yes,
virtually?
They do, because I'm sure it's because.
My goodness, that thing must cost a ton to ship.
Well, not if you go like to some of these sites where it's free shipping.
Wow.
but it must cost them a ton.
Yeah.
And it's the base of it is so beautiful and the top is cement and it wears so well. But if you, let's say that you have a table, before I had this one, I had an inlaid mahogany table that I bought, 35 years ago. And I spent an arm and a leg on it. It's, which I just do not suggest doing anymore. But back then we did, thinking, we would have it for the duration. Well, there's nothing that I want for the duration anymore.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants.
If you have a table, like I had my mahogany table before this, and I had to have it for a very long time because, back then you'd spend a lot of money on it and you just can't get rid of it. If you want to change the look, I got a big old chippy shutter, a great big one, and put felt on the bottom side of it and put that right on my dining room table.
Oh my goodness. What a brilliant idea.
What a bold designer.
I know. I love that idea.
It made such a difference.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine that would just change it completely.
It was a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous platform.
I have another idea or tip. If you've got a table and you really like that old mahogany table, I had an old one too, and I was done with it, but it was another one of those, we spent too much money on it. And it took me a while to come to terms with the fact that it just needed to go. It just wasn't working in our house. So in the interim, before I got the new table, I covered it up with a beautiful linen tablecloth. And, you think of just putting the tablecloth on when you're having guests, but I just kept that tablecloth on all the time in between guests to kind of cover up the fact that I didn't like the way it looked. And it was really a nice camouflage for quite a while.
There
Oh,
you
yeah.
go. That's a really
I
good
had a friend
idea.
who couldn't decide on a table and then spent money on something else. And so she actually just used a big, long folding table for her dining table for like 2 years. But she made this gorgeous, I mean, she's a wonderful sewer like you are, Anita. And she made this beautiful linen tablecloth with the flounce and the whole thing. And
Oh, nice.
you would never have known there was a
Mhm.
giant folding table underneath it.
Oh, that's funny.
That's a brilliant idea, especially when you don't want to be rushed.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
'cause
when we
that's a
were first
big
married,
decision.
our
decision.
dining room table was a square folding table, and I had my dad cut a 48-inch piece of plywood round to go on top of
Oh,
that folding
how
table,
smart.
and then I had the tablecloth that went to the floor, and so that's what we did for a long time.
Brilliant. Well, I love to use a runner on any table. And I, like Yvonne's saying, I mean, her shutter almost acted like a runner. So
It
you're,
did. That's
yeah,
exactly
you're adding
right.
a different
And
texture.
it brought a chippiness. And if you do
Exactly.
a burlap table runner, it will just add great texture, or linen.
Yeah. Speaking of burlap ones,
Mhm.
our good friend Ann Drake over at On Sutton Place has a wonderful tutorial, for a really easy tutorial for a burlap runner with tassels.
Oh,
And she
nice.
teaches you how to
Yes.
fray it on the bottom, and it looks so pretty. So we'll put that link in the show notes for
Very
anybody who's
nice.
interested in making
And
one
on
of those.
such and place, what a treasure trove.
Mhm.
Yes.
Good friend of
Yeah,
ours.
it's
She's
a
very
wonderful
talented.
blog. And so I love to use a runner, and it also acts, as we have mentioned time and time again, as sort of a corralling vehicle, if you will, for whatever decor you're putting on. So it's kind of could be, you could always put a tray on top of your runner or something to corral your decorative items, but in and of itself, the runner acts as a, like Yvonne said, like sort of a platform, even if it's
Yeah,
a flat
I think it's
fabric.
a great idea.
So, and we were talking about sort of putting bigger items, and I'm thinking, as I'm listening, kind of in a vignette style on the table. But there's another way to do it, which I think is kind of a more modern look, is especially if you have a long rectangle table, is to put 3, or if it's super long, I guess you could even get away with 5, but try to make it an odd number of the exact same items, or very
yes,
similar.
I've done that with pears, or maybe just a vase of something.
Yeah, like,
Uh-huh.
and
It's
you
a
could
great
be as
idea.
simple as, you could take literally, ball jars, mason jars, or you get tomato sauce jars and clean them all out. And you could make little floral arrangements and run them down. It could be, cost you basically nothing to make a really interesting display, because in the, shall I say, multiplicity of it, it has
word.
Yes.
Fifth
yeah,
grade
it
word.
has impact, rather than if you had, like Anita said, like the one vase in the middle, kind of sad and lonely, looking around for
Can
some
be.
other decorative items to join it. You've got this sink that's really makes a statement because you've got multiples of it.
But depending, your decor, you really want that wow factor. You do not want to have it get lost
No.
on your table or in your room. And I love the idea of like 3 big bowls, white bowls.
Yeah, that's
of,
a great look.
Pine cones or gourds or fruit or something, greens or whatever, seasonally, or things that you like in those bowls down the center of a table is just beautiful. I love that. And then you could even add a few candlesticks in.
Right. And to add on to what Yvonne is saying, I think this is really key, what she just said. And that is to add something alive to your table. It doesn't have to be that one pattern where it's just the 5 of the same thing down the center, but try to think of adding something alive to your table. I think it's going to really make it feel more vibrant and beautiful. So maybe it's a live plant. Maybe it's flowers from the grocery store, or maybe it's a bowl of fresh fruit. Or one of my favorite things to decorate with, which may seem odd, is a bowl of Brussels sprouts. I think they're beautiful.
They are beautiful. They're little works of
beautiful.
art.
Or artichokes.
Mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
these are beautiful things.
You know what's beautiful right now? I don't know if you guys have them by
What?
you, but persimmons.
I don't have
Right
that.
now.
No, we
Oh,
don't have them.
They're
here.
just a stunning fruit.
Are they the
And
little baby orange ones?
they're orange. They're not so
Mhm.
babyish. I mean,
love
they're
them.
sort
You've
of
insulted her
mid-sized.
already.
Hmm?
You've insulted her. You called them babies.
My persimmons are
The
large.
ones I've seen here in my area tend to be small.
Yeah, well, they're and kumquats are great too. They are small, but they're pretty in a bowl.
Mhm.
It's you asked earlier
Figs are gorgeous.
Figs are gorgeous. Figs sliced are even more gorgeous.
Oh,
My
I
goodness.
know.
But you can't really leave sliced figs out for a while.
Yeah.
But you asked what was on my table right now. So I just switched mine over. And I have to say, what I had on there before, I liked. It was an orchid trio that I got at Trader Joe's.
Oh.
And it was so beautiful. And my dining room tends to be cooler and just have nice filtered light. And so it really loved it there. And I just felt bad because I was like, gosh, I kind of thought this would have passed away by now. I was kind of ready to move on to fall, but it just kept pumping out more
Well,
blooms.
move it
And I thought,
somewhere.
where am I going to put it? Well,
I'll tell you when
that
I
was my
used
mistake.
orchids.
Well, I moved it into a warmer room and it quickly
There you
faded.
go.
then
That
there
was
you
its
go.
demise.
But you know what it was? There was because I have that rather ornate chandelier and it hangs low. And because my dining room is really a pass-through room to get to the kitchen. You can kind of go around through the living room, but most people come right through there and into the kitchen. So it was just seemed too busy with that height and the flowering and all that. So I'm much happier with what I did now. It's a little bit lower. So I have kind of like a trug box, you could put wine bottles in it, just have little separators, and it's this old, really distressed wood. And I tucked baby booze in with dried hydrangeas around them. So they're kind of nestled. And then I have, as far as I'm concerned, one candlestick is not enough. 2, 3, not enough. Maybe
True.
like 5 is good. So I have candlesticks of varying materials and varying heights on either side of that. And I'm really happy with the way that looks.
It sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's a good one. And the colors are nice and muted because the pumpkins are white and the hydrangeas have, they went to that really pretty pale fallish colors that they do.
And a nice way to add some fall, or not fall, but any kind of seasonal feeling to your table is to go out and clip whatever is growing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you've got some branches with fall leaves on, go bring them in now. Or winter, maybe bare branches. In the spring, something freshly, that soft green that's just sprouted.
Right. And again,
sticks and twigs,
sticks
my
and twigs.
favorite.
Right.
And you don't even have to put them in a vase. They don't have to be vertical. You can lay them on the horizontal. You can sort of spread out the look of your vignette by just trailing them out from the either side of whatever you've got going on in the center. I love that.
Yeah,
look.
another beautiful thing that's big, and it kind of makes me think of the cloches, which cloches, I love them.
They're
are
close
big,
to your heart.
The big demijohn bottles are gorgeous on a table. I love using those as a place to start and then add some elements to it.
Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh, so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about. Visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT.
Mm-hmm. Something that I have now, it's not on my dining room table because my dining room table is that concrete, is the cement, and it's a little more formal. But in my breakfast nook, I have another table that's round, and I have a dough bowl that's filled
those are
with
perfect.
all kinds of beautiful seasonal things. Now, I really like that. And you can buy faux dough bowls because dough bowls can be very expensive, but people are getting smart now and making reproductions that are much more reasonable. And right now, because it's fall, filled with pine cones and baby boos and acorns and sticks and twigs, and that's such a beautiful look because it fills the table.
I love using dough bowls, and I think that's perfect for the fall and winter. There's so many things that you can put in there, like pine cones that are small, and you can kind of gather them together in this container. And I even have some of these very large, I call them dough bowls, but really they're troughs. They're much bigger than a dough bowl. I mean, they're about 30 inches long often.
What do you think they used those for?
Well, I don't want to say, but because it's kind of gross, but yeah, they use them for meat preparation. Let me say it that way.
Okay. I was going down a different road.
Sorry.
Meat preparation was actually kind of a relief because I was like, Anita's not using that in her kitchen.
It wasn't in the bathroom. Oh no, it would never go on my table.
Yeah, I was like, that's our resident germaphobe.
Hey,
that can't be her.
I have chamber pots that I use as planters. So.
That's okay. But I've seen some people put those on their table, and you're like, oh no.
The chamber pot, the enamelware chamber pot I have. That's
a very good thing.
It's close enough.
Let's get back to our tables. I think the idea is that you want something that doesn't get lost. You need something that makes a statement on your table.
But I want to add to your dough bowl idea. How about a big wooden breadboard? And that acts like a tray or like the basket, table runner. Yep. That's kind of a container or, the boundary for your vignette. And some of them, the original ones are huge, but there's so many reproduction ones now. So they're really a nice big size. And I love using those.
And again, can add the chippy warmness that we love, like Yvonne Shutter did, to a table that you maybe want to change the look of a little bit.
Right. And we're going to say go big or go home. Basically,
I think you do want something big. Yes.
And I am getting from our discussion that our 3 bigs are different sorts of bigs, because I think with the way my dining room is set up, and as I said, the ornate chandelier coming pretty far down, my big, I think it looks better when it's big and long. And I think Yvonne's saying big and tall.
Well, no, I don't want it to hit my chandelier.
Okay.
But I like a big something in the center and then maybe candlesticks going out from there.
Well, let's just say, I think you need to be mindful of your table size, the ceiling height, what lights are hanging down over your table, and work appropriately, because you don't want it to feel crowded.
No little thing.
You don't want it to look crowded, but you also don't want it to look skimpy. So I think you're really going to have to step back and look at your space to decide what's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And have a default. Have something that, okay, this is really beautiful. And in those in-between times that you're not using something seasonal, you have something to put on that table that looks beautiful all the time. And then just the opposite. Don't keep the same thing on your table 12 months out of the year.
Good point.
Change it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's such a fun place to decorate. And most of the time, although I have had it happen in my own home, people put things on the dining room table and leave them, and they need to be moved. But lots of times the dining room might be situated in your home where it's off to the side and people have to be purposeful about going in there. So maybe it's not going to be one of those way stations or hot spots like Yvonne's family calls them. So, more than likely, you're going to be able to get away with people not depositing things there. So it can always look beautiful and you can enjoy it even if you're not sitting there and having a dinner. It just is a pretty place to decorate that won't be disturbed.
And if it is a hot spot, if you do use your dining room table, let's say your kids use it for homework, that's awesome. Just make sure
they don't touch anything.
No, your kids' stuff doesn't stay on it. I'm such a big, I love white dish pans. And you could put all those things that the kids have in a dish pan and take it off and put it in the garage.
What are you calling a dish pan?
Like a dish pan that you do the dishes
like
in.
The plastic one?
Oh, a tub.
Yeah. Oh, I use those for so much.
Oh, okay.
But let's say your kids do use your dining room table. Don't let this stuff lay, or maybe use it to pay bills. Put everything in a dish pan and put it away somewhere.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a great idea.
So your table looks beautiful.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you just can pick it up and bring it out. It's easy to bring out.
Right. Good point. That's actually a good idea. I mean,
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to give it to her.
White dish pan? Okay. All right.
I know
She was trolling for it.
I know.
This
really?
is off topic,
Mm.
but I have the best idea because I know Thanksgiving is coming up.
We'll save it for another episode, sister.
To use, I'm just going to tell you, it's about using those dish pans.
Ooh.
Best idea ever.
Okay. All right. So tip of the day and to be continued. Yes?
There you go.
All righty. So thanks so much for coming and being with us today. We so enjoyed talking about decorating your dining room table and our dining room table. And please remember that we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Hey, everybody. We want to thank you so much for listening to Decorating Tips and Tricks. And we want to make it even easier for you to listen. And it's easier if you subscribe. You just click the subscribe button on our website, www.decoratingtipsandtricks.com, or you can subscribe through Apple Podcast or any of your favorite podcast listeners. When you subscribe, DTT comes free right to you 3 days a week. So until next time.